The Honorable Deputy Speaker, Your Excellency President Yoweri Museveni, First Lady Janet Museveni, the Right Honorable Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Members of Parliament, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let me begin to say it is a great pleasure and indeed an honor on my own behalf, on behalf of my government and the people of Kenya, to be given this opportunity to address this august House. I speak to you today not only as a friend, but one of your closest neighbors, and indeed a steadfast friend in a turbulent world, as well as a committed partner in our historic task of building a lasting union that shall be secure but also prosperous. Indeed, it is my intention today to try and share with you a little bit of what I see as the destiny that awaits us as East Africans. And I do so that we can be strengthened by the hope that the future stands to bring. But more than that we can, in solidarity, stand together and defend this future with every ounce of our collective strength. To attain that bright future, however, demands that we pay heed to where we have come from, to what has forged us into independent and ambitious Africans of Kenya and Uganda, and indeed of East Africa. Mr. Speaker, sir, we rose as independent nations from the ruin and carnage of colonialism, from the damage to our bodies and minds that the colonizers, and even before him, the enslaver, had inflicted to try and break our spirit. From these considerable attempts to permanently undermine our sense of self-worth and our independent spirit. However, as Africans, we did not break. There had been civilizations for millennia throughout Africa before the colonial misfortune came upon us. Our people had ruled themselves, inventing and innovating social formulas that became the traditions underlying humane, just societies. Our people had traded with one another, explored each other's lands, and signed treaties of peace with one another. For generations without count, we had also raised brave warriors ready to make the ultimate sacrifice on behalf of their people. From these enduring qualities, we rejected and our forefathers defeated colonialism. Having done so, we did not go back to relive the nations of the past. Instead, we forged new nation states, expanded our sense of national identity, and adopted grander visions than had ever been known before. The greatest of these was the OAU, now the African Union, whose goal for half a century has been to erase the borders between us that were drawn in distant imperial capitals. Here in East Africa, our own East African community, where this great African dream is becoming realized more concretely as one of the fastest integrating regions in Africa and indeed in the world. Kenya and Uganda, as each other's leading trading and investment partners, are at the heart of this integration. Our Northern Corridor integration projects have led the way. One example, as mentioned by President Museveni, is the standard gauge railway line, whose construction, starting in Mombasa, is progressing on schedule. On its completion, it will dramatically reduce cargo transport costs by at least 60% to the benefit of Ugandan businesses, farmers, and consumers alike. Kenya is also expanding the port of Mombasa and taking strong steps to rapidly improve its efficiency to global standards. We are also going ahead with the development of the LabSet project, which will offer the region yet another world-class outlet for its goods. These infrastructure efforts are driven by the recognition that they are not just for Kenya. We recognize that these programs are for Uganda and our region. Uganda and East Africa. Together, we must prosper. Honorable members, we are also working to exponentially increase power generation in both our countries while looking to making transmission and interconnectivity reliable and broadly accessible. We've also agreed to build pipelines for crude oil and refined petroleum products, and Kenya will join you alongside other Eastern African partners in the development of an oil refinery here in Uganda whose impact will be regional. Our governments have worked together to ensure that our borders are far more efficient and people-friendly, meaning that our citizens, businesses, and investors are becoming even closer. Honorable members, these important initiatives are only a start to a long journey that we must undertake together. Mr. Speaker, these initiatives and our destination, to put it simply, is to ensure that as a region we have dignity, we are secure, and we live as prosperous people, governed democratically and justly. How we achieve it is by understanding and playing our respective roles as branches of government, together with our citizenry, the political opposition, civil society, and the private sector. We all have a role to play. I suggest to you that our different efforts at this time in our history must be united in seeking, above all else, prosperity for our people. Every endeavor we undertake, every dream that we have is impacted by a single reality: that 50 years into our independence, we are yet to fully achieve the social economic aspirations of our people. This is not to say that we have not made progress, but to acknowledge that much more still needs to be done. Changing this reality is our generational responsibility. Mr. Speaker, in our lifetime and in the lifetimes of many sitting here, we have been witness to the fastest sustained economic growth in human history. Its benefits have been felt mostly in Asia and in particular in the countries of the greater Indian Ocean Rim. We have observed from afar countries travel from wretched poverty while many of our people still suffer. These countries have managed to move from poverty to great wealth in just 2 generations. We must look at this and see our own future